Today, we're unpacking what is genuinely one of the most fascinating, multi-layered pop culture mysteries of the entire year. The whole thing kicked off with this explosive revelation out in the desert, a Coachella sighting that absolutely nobody saw coming. But, right beneath the flashing cameras and the festival music, there's actually a much deeper, almost cinematic story playing out here. We're talking secret setups, rapid Hollywood ascensions, and this legendary internet phenomenon that has literally followed one of the world's most famous families for decades. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, it's because we are watching a real-time collision between the highly manicured, super serious world of prestige cinema and the absolutely unstoppable machinery of reality television. We're going to untangle exactly how this whole secret romance actually came together, and more importantly, what it might mean for the future of a newly minted Oscar nominee.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question we're really exploring today. Is Hollywood's rising star the next victim of the internet's most infamous dating pattern? Right now, Jacob Elordi and Kendall Jenner are the internet's absolute newest obsession. But listen, this isn't just your standard story about two incredibly famous people holding hands in public. It's actually a story about a very specific, deeply analyzed pattern in Hollywood, one that has left this massive trail of dramatic career shifts in its wake. Will Jacob navigate this intense new spotlight completely unscathed, or is he stepping directly into a very well-documented trap? To really understand the stakes here, we have to trace back how this all began in the first place.
Okay, picture this. The lid was completely blown off this entire relationship on the night of April 11th, 2026. Weekend one of Coachella was in full swing. But the real action? That was happening over at Justin Bieber's private afterparty. Eyewitnesses spotted Kendall and Jacob completely wrapped up in each other, making out and just enjoying each other's company totally away from the official festival live streams. And then, mere days later, Jacob was spotted in Santa Barbara, which, coincidentally, is right near Kendall's place. The internet instantly connected the dots. What had been these tiny, quiet whispers out in the desert morphed into a global conversation literally overnight. It really just captures the sheer power of celebrity observation in the digital age, doesn't it?
But every good story has a mastermind, a catalyst working behind the scenes. To understand how Kendall and Jacob actually got together, we gotta flash back a bit to the 2025 to 2026 awards season. Because guys, this wasn't just some random celebrity run-in or a chance encounter at a local coffee shop. No. Kylie Jenner played a highly strategic, totally deliberate role in uniting this year's most surprising couple. During the awards circuit, Kylie was frequently right by the side of her boyfriend Timothée Chalamet. And it was in these elite, overlapping social spaces, amidst all the champagne and the industry chatter, that she actually began sizing up Jacob Elordi.
If you follow this family at all, you probably know that internally, Kylie really operates as the alpha sister. Now, Kendall and Jacob had actually been friends for years. They overlapped in social circles, they even attended the same birthday parties. But Kendall was hesitant. She wasn't entirely sure if she wanted to risk shifting Jacob out of the friend zone, which is totally fair. Kylie, however, had a very specific vision. She pushed a hesitant Kendall to just take the leap and pursue him. Why? Because Kylie wanted to orchestrate double dates. She thought it would be incredibly fun if she and Timothée and Kendall and Jacob all hung out together as a group. She saw this golden opportunity to build an elite, insulated little social circle, and she absolutely made it happen.
Now, here is the craziest part of all this. Coachella wasn't the beginning. Not even close. This relationship actually dates all the way back to early February of 2026. You had the Vanity Fair party on March 15th, and then finally the Coachella sighting in April. So by the time the public caught on, they had already been quietly dating under the radar for 2.5 months. And that tells us something super vital about the PR machinery of Hollywood. It is incredibly rare to keep a secret for that long unless you are actively, fiercely trying to protect it. The initial bonding didn't happen at flashy restaurants for the paparazzi. It happened at Kendall's house in Beverly Hills. Kendall, Timothée, Kendall, and Jacob just spent their evenings together in this private, comfortable environment. Away from all the cameras, genuine chemistry began to grow. They just clicked. If you zoom out for a second, it's like you've got these two parallel trajectories converging under one very famous family's roof. Think about it. During that awards season, both Jacob Elordi and Timothée Chalamet were navigating the exact same intense Oscar circuit for their respective films. Kylie saw Jacob walking the same red carpets, rubbing shoulders with the same industry elite as her own boyfriend. The whole matchmaking impulse actually makes perfect sense when you realize these two men were occupying the exact same rarefied space in the entertainment industry. It was essentially a merging of Hollywood's new leading men with reality TV's ultimate royalty.
To truly appreciate what Jacob has on the line here, you have to look at his monumental industry shift. I mean, the guy went from being the quintessential teen heartthrob in the Kissing Booth franchise to a gritty, totally unrecognizable Oscar nominee for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. He completely broke out of that restrictive heartthrob box with critically acclaimed roles in Euphoria, Priscilla, and Wuthering Heights, completely transforming his career trajectory. His cachet in Hollywood has literally never been higher. He proved to the entire industry that he is a serious dramatic actor who is more than capable of carrying massive, prestige projects.
And that transformation, it required sheer, grueling dedication. We are talking 10 hours of daily prosthetic makeup work. 10 hours! Put that into perspective. That is an entire standard workday and then some, just sitting in a makeup chair. To play the creature in Frankenstein, his performance was deliberately stripped of his conventional good looks. This involved the meticulous application of 42 separate prosthetic appliances every single day before the cameras even started rolling. This wasn't just some casual role for him. It was an artistic coronation. It earned him nods at the Golden Globes, the BAFTAs, and the Academy Awards, firmly establishing his place among acting heavyweights.
You see, Jacob holds a profound, almost old-school reverence for the craft. For him, legends like Sean Penn are the ultimate bar for real performance. He is a true student of cinema. He actively reads the unofficial biographies of his peers. He completely immerses himself in film history. And honestly, perhaps most endearingly, when he finally attended the Oscars as a nominee, he brought his mother, Melissa. He proudly walked the carpet with her, fulfilling a promise he made to her when he was just 15 years old. He is completely dedicated to his art, and that is exactly what makes his entry into the tabloid-heavy world of the Jenners such a fascinating contrast.
But stepping into a relationship with a Jenner means blending that fierce artistic dedication with the intense glare of reality royalty. And, let's be real, neither of them arrived at this moment with a clean slate. They both carry significant baggage and profound lessons from highly scrutinized past romances. Entering a brand new dynamic under the microscope of the global public is never easy, especially when your previous heartbreaks have played out on the front pages of the internet for millions of people to consume and comment on.
And the contrast in their romantic baggage is super interesting. Kendall's history largely features high-profile athletes and musicians. She navigated a 2.5-year on-again, off-again saga with NBA star Devin Booker, followed by a very loud, fast-paced whirlwind romance with Bad Bunny that wrapped up in late 2023. Meanwhile, Jacob has navigated a total labyrinth of public showmances and splits. He's had highly publicized relationships with co-stars like Joey King and Zendaya, to a year with Kaya Gerber, and then that rollercoaster 4-year relationship with Olivia Jade that involves countless breakups and reconciliations. It's a lot of public history to bring into a new dynamic.
Kendall herself has actually been incredibly reflective about the emotional toll of dating in her 20s. As she put it, she experienced more relationship trauma than she initially realized. She felt like she was caught in this never-ending Saturn return, which, if you're into astrology, you know is a period often associated with intense personal upheaval and some seriously hard lessons. Yet, despite the exhaustion of all that public dating, she still maintained hope for a beautiful, stable relationship. And this frame of mind is absolutely crucial. She entered 2026 actively seeking something genuine, right at the exact moment Kylie was nudging her toward the rising Australian actor.
All right, now we have to pivot to a darker, highly debated theory that just hovers over this entire situation: the lore. Look, the internet absolutely loves a conspiracy, but this one has persisted for decades. It is an impartial reality of pop culture that whenever a high-status man enters this specific family's orbit, the public immediately begins watching for a very specific, alleged pattern to unfold. It's the ultimate elephant in the room whenever a new relationship is sparked in this family. You literally can't bring it up without people mentioning it.
Yeah, we are talking about the Kardashian dating curse. While it might sound like internet mythology, observers point to a very real pop culture pattern here. High-status men experiencing sudden career and reputation declines after dating into the family. Interestingly enough, while the men often face profound setbacks or public struggles, the Kardashian-Jenner women consistently experience massive boosts in their businesses, their wealth, and their social status. It's a dynamic that the internet watches like a hawk, essentially turning these people's personal lives into a spectator sport.
Now, to be clear, we aren't endorsing this as literal magic, but the timeline is exactly what keeps the internet talking. Think about it. Blake Griffin left his family for Kendall. His career quickly crashed from being a 6-time NBA All-Star to a sudden retirement. Kylie dated Tyga. His highly successful music career suffered a critical decline, and his albums flopped. And of course, there's Kanye West, who married into the family as a billionaire icon and eventually lost his fortune and his public standing. The public absolutely loves to draw lines between these events, creating a narrative that is almost impossible to ignore. Because the pattern across generations is just undeniably consistent. Step 1.
Enter the relationship at the absolute peak of your career. Step 2. Endure intense, suffocating public scrutiny where your every single move is suddenly tabloid fodder. Step 3. Experience a dramatic career or personal turn. I mean, we've seen it with Chris Humphries, whose 72-day marriage turned him into a punchline, and Lamar Odom, whose life took a deeply tragic turn under that blinding spotlight. The curse doesn't discriminate by generation. It affects the partners of all the sisters, and that is exactly why fans are nervous right now. Jacob is entering step 1. He is at the absolute peak of his career.
Which kind of loops us back to where Kendall's mindset was right as this relationship was blooming. In an interview earlier this exact same month, literally the month she started secretly seeing Jacob, Kendall stated she was too busy for children right now, and her main priority was just to stay true to herself and continue having a good time. It perfectly contextualizes those quiet, low-pressure evenings at her Beverly Hills home. She wasn't looking for some chaotic public spectacle. She was simply looking to enjoy herself and find a genuine connection away from the cameras.
And true to form, silence is basically her ultimate strategy. Kendall is fiercely private. There has been no public confirmation, no Instagram hard launch, no joint red carpet appearance. Kendall has always tried to find this balance between keeping things private and keeping them sacred. She refuses to let the stress of the public eye ruin her personal life. So the lack of confirmation isn't an accident, it's a highly calculated choice. It is entirely on brand for how she operates, guarding the things she actually cares about from the media machine.
So this brings up the ultimate debate. Cynics on the internet see a perfectly timed reality TV plot. Two Jenner sisters dating two Oscar-nominated leading men orchestrated flawlessly during awards season just to elevate the family's prestige. I get it. It sounds exactly like a brilliantly executed PR stunt. But remember the timeline we discussed earlier. 2.5 months of hidden, untelevised dating before a single piece of footage leaked. PR stunts require cameras, guys. This relationship actively hid from them. And that suggests that despite the absolute absurdity of their fame, there is a very real, genuine connection happening behind closed doors.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to chew on as we wrap up. Jacob Elordi has made his choice. He is now inextricably linked to this highly scrutinized orbit. With a booming career and the respect of Hollywood's elite right in the palm of his hand, what happens next? Will his undeniable talent and sheer dedication to the craft allow him to break the pattern and shatter the internet's favorite phenomenon? Or will he fall victim to the crushing, inevitable weight of the spotlight? That is a mystery we are all going to have to watch unfold. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.